Gamers, so I did pretty much everything that you can do in the Nioh 3 demo, bar like one thing pretty much, and I did want to kind of get my thoughts out there, so I wrote down a lot of them because overall I did really enjoy this and I am looking forward to this game, but I do have a couple of at least worries with the game, so let's just get into it. First thing I want to talk about is just like Team Ninja are so good at this, man. After so many Souls-likes from so many different companies, you would think Team Ninja would have some stiff competition, but the thing is, like, while everyone is just trying to make like a good Dark Souls clone, Team Ninja is really just trying to make like a better Nioh. And I did have a couple of doubts with the first alpha of this game when I tried it, but this demo definitely changed my mind. Like, I'm super excited for the game now. Despite my doubts, Nioh 3's combat succeeds at improving on the already amazing structure of the first two games. Not just that, but outside of combat, like the open area map connecting the levels, or missions as they're called in this game, is just such a logical evolution of that map from Nioh 1 and 2, where you could just select your missions from. Like, you just take that map and you basically make it traversable on foot. It's a really cool idea, and I feel like they're pulling it off pretty well for the most part here, so really impressed with that. And it's just a really good evolution for this series, and a lot of work has been put into making this aspect of the game a lot of fun. You have very content rich maps that are not as big, pretty, or impressive as the Elden Ring open world, but it does manage to impress with how densely packed it is. There's just a lot of stuff to do, and it's actually fun to do, mostly because of the combat. Speaking of the combat, let's just take it back to that for a second. The biggest addition to the gameplay of Nioh 3 is not the open areas as a connective tissue for your missions, but it's the addition of essentially an entire second build for your character that you can swap to with the press of a button. You swap between your samurai and ninja mode. Both of them have their own weapon and armor sets, and both of their weapon and armor sets have passive buffs that affect each other, meaning you can buff your ninja build with some of your samurai's equipment and vice versa. It makes the looter aspect of Nioh's gameplay even more pronounced. It also doubles the chances of gear being actually useful or interesting. And it's not as simple as just giving you like two sets of armor and weapons. The ninja and samurai modes play very different and kind of balance each other's weaknesses in a way. Samurai, it's more slow, methodical, with the Nioh stance system and ki pulse allowing you to manage your stamina bar efficiently and blow through bosses' health bars with satisfying button combinations that make you feel like you're really mastering the game if you know how to control your moveset. Just with the samurai moveset alone, your controls are already a far cry from the typical Souls-like with like, a heavy, a light, and a roll button. Every weapon for the samurai has essentially three movesets, fast, balanced, and strong. And all those movesets can seamlessly link into each other using ki pulse and like stance switching. It just feels so damn good once you get used to it. It's actually amazing. On the other hand, the ninja playstyle is a bit more fast-paced, careless, and wild, better suited to like dealing with mobs, with the stance system replaced for ninjutsu projectiles that infinitely refill as you land normal and heavy blows on enemies. So essentially with the ninja, you kind of are mashing a little bit more. You can kind of mash square to get like quick moves out and triangle for the strong moves, and then the button you normally use for stance is a button that you use instead to throw out these infinitely refilling projectiles that make it so dealing with mobs is a little bit easier. There's a lot of like flying enemies that are kind of hard to hit or intentionally designed to be annoying to kind of make you use your ninja projectiles, and it just works really well. The system is really fun. The system is also well suited to starting and finishing off bigger enemies. You can shoot your projectiles, go in for some big damage, back away, and you can use the coward's way out and just finish them off with a couple of projectiles. You can chuck all your shurikens, use your big shuriken, use your fireball, and if you need to, pull out the gun. You can kind of just unload at the end of a boss fight. And honestly, that comes up a lot in this game for me, where I get them down pretty low and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to unload now and just, get it over with. It does obviously feel a bit anticlimactic to do it, but sometimes I just want to do the coward's way out. So that's a lot of positives. I think these systems are great and really fun to use. This is lining up to be the best Nioh game in my opinion, but I do have some negatives that I'm worried about. The first one is that the story is kind of whatever, but that's been a thing for every Nioh game, so that's neither here nor there. Like, these games are kind of arcade looter souls. They're not exactly here for like the most immersive story or whatever, so I don't mind that. Not a huge complaint. Another potential issue that I have to admit I did enjoy quite a bit so far is the Ubi Slop map structure. I'm not sure if it's because Nioh has never been the most immersive game, so these kind of like checkmark lists of objectives on the map just don't bother me as much, or maybe it's because the combat in Nioh is so fun to use that even doing menial things in the open world like collecting random collectibles on the map actually feels a lot of fun to do. You just get to beat up chumps, and pressing buttons in Nioh just feels really good. So I did end up actually enjoying doing a lot of the menial Ubi Slop open map design type of stuff. I will say I almost never play that type of game, so maybe to me it still feels a bit novel in a way. So if you play a lot of those games with like open map checkmark design, it might be a bit less fun for you. But in this one, it was kind of working for me. So I don't even know if you can really call this a complaint as much as I'm just pointing out that it's kind of sloppy design, but it's like slop that I like, I guess. So my one big and actual complaint through all this demo is that except for one aspect of the demo, everything feels way too easy. I'm sure many would say this is normal for early game, which is true for most games, but not really for Nioh. Like Nioh 1 and 2 both are significantly harder at the start, and its looter systems allow you to basically become an overpowered beast by the end game, even without looking up any builds online or whatever. Like the looting system of Nioh is kind of made to make you super OP and crazy by the end of the game. So in my experience, at least with Nioh 1 and 2, those games start off hard and they finish pretty easy. Like they get pretty freaking easy by the end. This time around, however, I'm a bit worried because the early game is so easy that Nioh 3 could end up just feeling easy all the way through. The mobs die very quickly. The side content around the map is actually easier than the main Crucible mission thing that you have to do at the end of the demo, which means going off the beaten path doesn't like reward you with greater challenges or anything like that, and more so helps prepare your character for the main challenge ahead, which I'd be okay with if that main challenge wasn't so easy. I'm not sure if I'm just used to Nioh, but the first dungeon or level or Crucible mission, whatever, is just extremely easy to run through, and the final boss was scary at first, but there's a couple things that make even this encounter pretty easy. I will say I'm not really complaining about the boss difficulty as much as everything else available in the demo. I think if you face this boss one-on-one without co-op and without your demon transformation, which I haven't mentioned yet, it is a fun, fair challenge, and I was pretty close to dying when I fought it in that fashion. Everything else in the demo, not counting the insane purple demon thing that is like powered by the spirits of dead players or whatever, they all just melt. I saw Mezuki while roaming the open world, and I was pretty excited to fight that boss because I fought it, in previous games, but it was just super easy, getting completely melted without me doing really anything too crazy. I'm not even like crazy good at these games or anything. This is all without even mentioning the two other completely broken aspects of this game. First, the co-op is really fun. It's an awesome time with the co-op, don't get me wrong. Unlike Dark Souls, you can progress through seemingly the entire game pretty much at the same time. You and your friend can beat a boss together, and that boss is defeated for both of you, and you can both get your cutscene for this main story and keep playing together. It's a really well implemented co-op mode, so I'll give it that. But for some reason, and this really doesn't make sense to me, both players get a revive while doing co-op. So me and my friend's first attempt at co-op, we both died to the first main boss and both revived. And of course we won without playing well at all. We played like shit actually. So not only did the boss not feel very scaled up for facing two players, but also we get an extra life, which is like a crazy advantage to give when you already get an advantage by being two players. It's already much easier as a team, so I don't see why the devs would make it even easier by giving players an extra life that is exclusive to multiplayer expeditions. Perhaps this is the mode meant to appease the normies, but at that point, why not give a revive in the single player too and just like balance the bosses around that? I just don't get, like, seriously, it doesn't make any sense to me that you get a revive if you're buffed already by being two players, but you don't have a revive if you're facing the boss one-on-one. It seems very much overkill. Okay, so that's probably the biggest thing for like the difficulty in this game. But another thing also is like the demon transformation will probably need to be scaled down. I didn't mention this yet, but you have access to this demon transformation in the game that's indicated by this big glowing orb next to your life bar. And when you transform into that demon, any hit you take doesn't really hurt your actual life points. It just makes the transformation last less long. And so if you have any weapon with a move that is just like multi-hit, long lasting, that you can just hold the button and you keep doing it, the poise of your demon transformation will just power through pretty much anything the boss throws at you, and you're just gonna chunk their health because it gets crazy scaling on damage when you're in that transformation. They probably need to tone that down a little bit because you can literally just melt boss HP bars with this. It's kind of crazy. Like, the game is already not hard enough, but this one in particular is just anyone will be able to do this stuff and just kind of cheese anything and just use a long-lasting move. I don't have any problem with those moves being good, but it should probably not be like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse levels of easy. Don't really think I need to go more in depth on that point. I mean, it kind of just speaks for itself. So in conclusion, I really hope after this demo portion of the game, the dial gets turned up on the difficulty a bit, because we're not really going to get that nice power fantasy feeling of growth if everything is just a pushover through the entire game. My hope is that this demo is made too easy in order to get the normies to buy it, and then 4 hours post-demo, when you can't refund the game on Steam anymore, the devs filter the normies out and let the real Nioh enjoyers take on actual challenges. Now, if you couldn't tell from the start of this video, if the game does turn out to be too easy, I will probably still really enjoy it, but there's just so much depth in the combat with the new added ninja system and basically the entire second character you can play at all times in the game. That would be a huge waste if the game didn't have like the proper difficulty to fully utilize those new mechanics. So I really hope that, you know, the difficulty gets turned up quite a bit after this demo portion. Other than that though, I think it's great, and even if the game was pretty easy all the way through and not like a crazy challenge, I still think it's going to be a fun game for what it is, and there's probably going to be some hard missions here or there for people that want a real challenge, so I'm not super worried about it. I'm kind of discussing if I think this game will be like a 10 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. It's kind of going to depend, for me at least, on how difficult they make the game. Anyway, that's about it. Don't want to yap for too long. Thanks for checking out the video.